Welcome everyone to our third In Conversation event on conservation's leading edges. Today it is entitled Restoring Environments Through Seed Banks and Plant Nurseries, and we'll be discussing Indigenous and community-based seed systems, seed banking, and plant nurseries, and how those are being used in innovative ways in different parts of the world to support ecological restoration and community building. We have three speakers today. We have Bia from Brazil, Dunya from Croatia, and Rashid from Morocco, who isn't here yet, but will be joining us. There was a time zone misunderstanding, and he will be joining us very soon. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to have the three presentations go first. Please save up your questions, write them down, and we will then open the floor to dialogue once the three presentations are finalized. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite Bia to tell us her story of her work with seeds and communities in Brazil.
Hello, everyone.
Just check the whole sharing screen thing is working.
Yes. So I'll just share my screen. Please let me know when you are seeing my screen. Yeah?
Yes, we can see it.
So thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm happy and proud of sharing a bit of our work. I am a Brazilian biologist that work in an institution called Instituto Socioambiental, which means Social Environmental Institute. And I'll share a bit about our work in community-based restoration chain. English is not my first language, so I hope I am able to express everything I want with you, and I'll be happy to answer questions and discuss more later. So let me see. Okay, so ISA is the Instituto Socioambiental. It's a non-profit civil society organization that is celebrating 30 years this year. The mission of ISA is safeguard Brazil's social environmental diversity. And we work in the corridors of Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil, so in the public policies incidents, but also in the forest floor, in the territories with the communities. We have been working in these 30 years in many places in Brazil, mainly in three watersheds: Rio Negro. You see my mouse meshing? Yeah, okay. Rio Negro, Xingu, and Ribeira. But also we have two offices that are in Brasilia, Brazil's capital, and São Paulo, the biggest city of Brazil, thinking about the spreadness of some ideas of monitoring and the public policies incidents, as I said. But how we operate? Well, we are really been working with Indigenous people and traditional communities in the sense of their territories and things related to public policy and law, also forest economy, monitoring trends and pressures, and always thinking with them about nature-based solutions. And the restoration is a cross-cutting team that aligns with all this operational way of dealing. So I will bring the concept of the Muvuca, which is a method inspired by nature and the traditional knowledge of Indigenous people that we've been working in ISA to restore ecosystems. So learning from nature and Indigenous people is the way we manage the restoration. And I'll explain it. What does it mean? So we have a big quantity of seeds of different species planted directly in the soil. So we mix the seeds and we mix it with sand to make it easier to plant. But the sense is the quantity and the variety of seeds is to reply the nature, the diversity, and bringing operational efficiency as well. The high density of seeds is to guarantee that many of them will born and raise in the soil. And the variety is to think about the ecological succession. So there are some plants that will live for like until a year that allows and helps the other species to establish, and this go on until we have a forest or other types of ecosystems established. For example, in Brazil, we have the Brazilian savanna called cerrado. There is many species that are not big trees, but this method also works in other ecosystems. And it's important to say that besides this knowledge, and it's a way of cost reduction. As we plant the seeds directly in the soil, we don't have to have all the seed nurseries logistics. And also we have the ability to mechanize and adapt operations of the implantation of the seeds, because many of the machines and ways of planting are already in the proprieties, because they are used in agriculture and other types of activities. So here we have 3 pictures of a year, 3 years, and 10 years of seeds planted, and we have consistent results that we see in the nature. And also we have many publications, but many scientific publications that support this method. We have many things to learn, of course, but we have consistent results in this like 15 years we've been working with. And it's important to say that besides these economical and ecological results, we have the social results, because the seeds must come from somewhere, from someone. And in 2007, there was this campaign, Ikatu Xingu, which in Indigenous language means save the good water of Xingu. And the thing that happens is there are the water sources outside of the Indigenous territories that were polluting their water. And this campaign was to restore the water sources of the Xingu River located outside their Indigenous lands. Today, this campaign generated the Rede de Sementes Xingu, which is Xingu's seed network. That is the biggest seed network in Brazil, perhaps in the world. We have more than 600 collectors. Many of them are indigenous, and most of them are women. So to plant the seeds directly in the soil in the quantity and diversity that we need strengthens also the community-based seed production chain. So we have the social aspect directly involved in this process. And we have also many scientific publications that support this community-based native seed production and its gains and benefits. So now, Xingu's seed network was born in 2007 from this campaign I said, but today, 2024, we have other seed collection groups and networks beginning to establish themselves in Brazil, but they still lack greater coordination and support for their development and professionalization. So now we have an initiative called Redário, in which we have more than 20 seed networks articulated. And here in the map, the red dots, which are the Redário's logo, indicates all these seed networks that are articulated now in Redário. We have directly involved more than 1,000 collectors, And again, most of them are women. So we have been working directly with many of community-based seed networks. And who are those community-based seed networks? They are indigenous people, quilombolas, which are communities, traditional communities here in Brazil that resist from the slavery. And we have also other traditional people involved, like geraizeiros. In Brazil, we have many different traditional people that are classified. They self-determine how they are called. But besides these traditional communities, we have also agrarian reform settles and Uber collectors in this more than 1,000 collectors. So we've been working in Redário with the supply, the seed production, supporting the communities to do it. And we do it by planning, harvesting, and also in the trade and governance aspect. But we also are working in the other side, in the complementary, to demand this seed production. Planning, implementing, monitoring, and giving technical assistance to this directly seed planting in another initiative called Caminhos da Semente, which means seed pé. So this slide is to show how everything is connected and how the communities are always in the center. The seed is the connection because the communities collect them, clean them, and do many processes to allow the seeds to be mixed and then planted to give the opportunity to an ecosystem to establish a forest or a savanna or so on. And when this is established, it produces more seeds and the cycle is always connected. And it's important to say that ISA, the institution I work with, is involved in both of the initiatives, in all the restoration chain, but we don't work together happily. In Redário, we work with more than 20 seed networks, and 2 of them, Rede Sementes do Cerrado and Rede Sementes do Xingu, are directly involved in the governance of Redário. So we take the decisions and the way we do together. And in the other initiative, Caminhos da Semente, we also work with other organizations, with Agroícone, which is a sustainable enterprise, in Embrapa, which is a government institution that works with researchers and other incidences. And again, restoration is crossing. So the climate, biodiversity, water is also in the center of the discussions. And we work aligned with conservation, and the social resilience has always been exercised as well. So the bioeconomy, innovation, the communities, work and income are always aligned in all this chain. So just detailing a bit about the 2 initiatives, Redário, which, how I said, the objective is to support the collectors, the community-based seed networks. We work in 3 axes. The first is strengthening seed collecting networks. So through seed techniques, how to best collect, clean the seeds. We always put the collectors in contact. So seed networks from a place in Caatinga, which is a biome far from Amazon, they exchange knowledge among them and things associated with knowledge management, and also identifying, understanding the circumstances of each of the network, of the seed networks, to support personally the development of each of them. The second axis is market and resource access. So we support them with the commercialization to find the demand to buy their seeds, and also resource mobilization, both to the Redário and Caminhos da Semente, but mainly also to the network. So we support them writing writing projects and managing projects to support their institutions. And the third axis is cooperation among stakeholders. So we are always interconnected with researchers, with the public policies, and also thinking about the communication of the initiatives with the seed networks, but also to communicate and disseminate the idea and the initiative abroad.
Yeah.
Hi, Bharati. I guess you open your micro. I will be happy to hear you after. I'll just run because of the time, but I'm always almost in the end. That's just to share about the Caminhos da Semente way of working. We work with technical support and also with training in the sense of muvuca, how to plant the muvuca, how to plant directly in the soil. Many things related to carbon sequestration, collaborative monitoring, applied research, knowledge platforms, so sharing many of the information we have, many about the results we have, and again, support for public and private policies and programs. And the starts are the things that I am directly related. So I am more related to the network development, to the sense of the resource access, public policies, and collaborative monitoring. So we know how powerful and important all this chain is, but of course there are challenges, and here I try to bring the main challenges, which the most, of course, for sure, it's organize the seed demand, because we are always worried about aiming to ensure that the supply for the network is fully aligned with identified market needs. So this organizing is a challenge, of course. The coordinating different actors is also a challenge, because there are inherent challenges related to managing the relations and so on. But in this case, it primarily represents a strength. And last but not least, the climate change is being felt directly and daily by the collectors, by the planters, the people that plant, the people that collect the seeds, because climate change is already altering local flowering and fruiting types. So now it's already a reality, and it increases the necessity to connections between networks from different locations to maintain the supply of certain seed species. So here we have a video. I won't have time to share, but there is subscribes in English, so you can feel a bit and see more deeply about everything that I tried to share with you. Here are the websites and my personal email, so we can later discuss more. And the websites bring many documents, references, pictures, and maps, and many information that go deep about everything that I tried to share. So thank you so much for the opportunity. We'll be happy to hear my colleagues presenting their work as well. And I'll be happy to discuss more, share more, go deeply. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Bia. Thank you so much. That was really fascinating. I've already got 3 or 4 questions lined up for later. Great. And now we'll move to Dunja, who works in Croatia with community seed banks. So moving across to the other side of the world. Dunja, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Yes, thank you also for inviting me. This is such an honor, actually. And hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. Okay. So I will represent our small community seed bank. So I work at SMAG, In Croatian, that means Green Network of Activist Groups. So we are a small NGO that is 25 kilometers from our capital, from Zagreb. And we are a small permaculture educational center. We cover different kinds of permaculture topics. So agroecology, and the community seed bank is located in the agroecology topic. Also energy transition, natural building, good economy, and different kinds of educations for sustainable development. Those are usually educations for kids and also for grown-ups, for all age groups actually. And I'm originally a urban forester, but I realized during my forestry years that the biggest impact we can do in nature conservation is the way that we grow food. So I have my dream job currently. I manage all of our gardens and the community seed bank. So like I said, it's very small. We have around 400 vegetable and flower species, and we have around 30 members every year. And our members are mostly like hobby gardeners and small scale farmers. Our goal is to conserve as much as possible of cultivated varieties with the accent on traditional and indigenous varieties. But it's mostly food that people eat now, and a lot of varieties that people do not eat anymore, but we are trying to bring those seeds back. So except of course, growing the vegetables and all of the plants that we have seeds from, we also organize seed exchanges. We publish different kinds of publications for our members. It's like a small magazine. All of our members, like when someone needs a hand and they have something like big doing in their gardens, we organize some of us so that we can help each other. That is a very vital part of our community building as seeders and as gardeners. And we also have education and workshops. So every year, all of us get together, and some of our members do some workshops so that we keep the knowledge flowing. So our practices, so we have a small market garden that we started like 1 month ago, so it's completely fresh. We have a small forest garden, and the rest of it is mostly raised beds. So we don't have a lot of plots. That is one of our biggest problems, but okay, we will get to that. So we garden completely organically. I wrote here that it's 99% no-till, because sometimes when we have a new plot, we have some initial tillage, because it's much easier to get the soil going. We use mulching. We make our own compost. When we are not able to make so much, then we buy it. We collect rainwater for water, and we use guild planting, especially in our forest garden. A lot of the emphasis is on soil microbiology, and we try to seed everything with the biodynamic calendar when it's possible. We have 3 different kinds of memberships in our small bank, so it's like a seed library actually. So at the end of every January, we make a list of all the species that are in quantities that we can give out to our members. It's around, and then our members can pick 5 to 8 packages that they will garden. So we have supporter members who just like to support us financially because they don't garden themselves, but they like the cause and they support the cause. We have gardeners who take the responsibility to bring back to the bank as much seed that they got. So that's a bare minimum, but most of them they bring more back. And of course, sometimes something can happen and some of the plants do not do well because of the pest or something like that, which is completely okay. So we are very flexible, and we have active members who are a crucial part of our community. So every time that we have educations, they help us do the lectures and the workshops, and they are here to help us with their knowledge and their skills, and they are crucial for multiplying all of the seeds that we are not able to do ourselves. So our funding, when we organize the seed exchanges, a lot of the people, they don't know that they can bring their own seeds. So they can donate money for the seed packages. We also have membership fees for the seed bank, and the workshops are also a source of funding. Okay, so some of the challenges. Our biggest challenge is the lack of farmers, because people don't have the endurance, I don't think, anymore to bring the plants to seeding. So we are very spoiled gardeners today, because we can get the seeds in stores. We can buy plantings, quality plantings. So people don't want to use their money, energy, and time to collect seeds and to have that culture. Like 50 years ago, it was common for people in the rural areas to collect seeds, but like a lot of people lost that habit in the last 50 years, but it's slowly coming back. The logistics is also a big problem. We try to reproduce as much as varieties every year, but with some species that get cross-pollinated, it is very hard to grow quantities and also have the quantities of one species, but also have the different kinds of species, like for so getting the quantities, it's also a challenge, because we can mostly exchange everything that we grow. And also like I said, we have 400 species, and not all of them can get to be planted, which is heartbreaking every year, because we have to choose which one we are gonna regenerate. And one of our biggest challenges as gardeners is, of course, pests and diseases. I don't know how it is in your countries, but in Croatia, it's slug year every year. And every year it's much, much worse, because we have the Spanish invasive species. And like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we couldn't even buy the organic stuff that helps us to get rid of slugs. So that's a big challenge. The lessons we've learned is, yes, that the people are losing the habit of seed saving. Also, a lot of people do not know that there is that the community seed banks exist. So that is one of our aims, to just let people know that there are different kinds of seed sources. We've learned a lot with the gardening practices, what works and what not. Less is always more. Like I said, it's much better to reproduce one species and have good quantities of it, and not to try to have two varieties at the same time. We're still managing to find a way to not have a lot of cross-pollination with some species. Yes, and education, that's a big lesson. Like, we live in the YouTube era where everything you can get all of the information, but we always get surprised how that there are people who really do not understand even the basics. Like, people do not think how the food is grown, where the food comes from. So education is also a big aim of ours. The impact that we are making is we are really building a community of seed savers. So every year the seed exchanges, they have more and more people coming there, and we are trying to make them value their seeds, so they can bring any seeds they have and they can exchange it for new species. so they don't have to use money to get new varieties, which is excellent. We are conserving the biodiversity this way because a lot of species are not used anymore in our everyday kitchens because we buy most of them, and there's a lot of varieties that people used to cook, but they don't like. I even didn't know a lot of the species that existed before. We are helping this local community grow of local seeders, and also a lot of rural areas. People have the knowledge that they used to have before, but in urban areas we are really educating a lot of people, and we have a lot of urban gardeners and also a lot of people that only have a balcony, and so I think a big impact is happening in the cities, and yeah. Okay, so these are our contacts so that we can keep in touch, our website and Facebook and Instagram page. And I hope this was interesting for you and that you have questions for later. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dunya. That was great. It's a completely different context than what Bia was talking about. So there's like this wonderful variety of context here. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do have questions, but we'll get to Rashid first, who has joined us. And then we will open the floor to questions. Rashid, would you like to, are you ready? Are you feeling calm and
thank you so much.
and able to present?
Yeah, sorry for this for the late, so it was confused with the time, and also I have another with the colleagues from WCR and evaluating what we did in earthquake relief. So yeah, but I'm ready to present.
Please share your screen. I think Youssef has made you co-host.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Great.
Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation. Please.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Thank you for the presenter. The presentation was very interesting. So for me also, I will present the nurseries and seed banks and the role of the seed banks and in the communities, and also in the conservation of biodiversity. First of all, so my name is Rashid Ahmed, co-founder of Moroccan Biodiversity and Livelihood Association, which is NGOs that established in 2014 by support with of JDF. Thanks a lot for this. So we started working with JDF since 2012, and the idea to create the NGOs is to have like Moroccan and also one from the High Atlas to conserve our biodiversity, and it helped us a lot. So the aim of the NGO is to restore the ecological balance and also documentation and promote the traditional conservation practices, and also support the sustainable agriculture and rural economies. All of this is under the High Atlas Cultural Landscape, which is the program that developed with partenariat with the Global Diversity Foundation as a lead of the program, and also as a partner within Bailey. The objective is to conserve and to develop, maintain of the restaurant Amazigh traditional practices will enhance their livelihoods, sustainable management their lands, and also restore resource and detect rapid changes. So in 2017, the program was established, and it's structured on 3 parts. Or the first one is inception, also data gathering, data analysis, and also to scale up the program. So you have like six pillar, and it's one by cultural diversity, conservation and development, networking, scaling up, local products commercialization, governance and policy, bicultural educations and innovation skills transfer, and academic dissemination. Of course, our activities, it will be under it's under the bicultural diversity documentations and conserving in the high Atlas area. But for this, it's we have to we did first like community action plans developed with local communities to have and to see which plan that can implement, and one of this is the community nurseries and also seed banks. First of all, the community nurseries is developed in a participatory approach with local communities, is to have like which is the species that they need, which also the wild and the local varieties that they can help local communities, and also serving to the conservation of biodiversity in the Atlas. And we focused on 3Z, especially on endemic species, and also economical value and endangered species. That the three aspects that we try to respect. And also there is other criteria and other species that asked by local community that we plant in the nurseries. And the objective of this is to reintroduction in the wild, and to take a pressure from the wild, and to have like a density of species in the wild, and also distribute it for the local communities to take a pressure from the wild, and also to plant it in their terraces to like have improved their livelihoods, and also do not use a lot the plants from the wild. Also, the local seed banks that we will talk also yesterday. We have like five community nurseries in the High Atlas, 3 in the High Atlas Oval House, and also Central High Atlas in the other region. So almost the latest one that we have is still good. This one is dedicated to produce of the like plants of the wild plant and trees. The objective is the restoration of the forest of this one, and also we have like Zawi Tahnsar of medicinal plants, and this one is managed by cooperatives, and I will talk about the sustainability of the seed. Yeah, so we produce more than 300,000 plants in the nurseries with the different more than 50 now with the junior nurseries, more than 50 different species, and also more than 86,000 plants distributed for the beneficiary from the High Atlas, and also the introduction in the wild. So the idea for the local communities is to have a sustainability of the seed banks. We create like what we work with the cooperatives and with local communities, because the project, it will not be like every time. So the project will be end. We need someone to take care of it, and also develop, to not stop in the activities. And this is why we work with the cooperatives to take in consideration also take care of the seed bank, of the community nurseries, and to produce, and also to share, to have a benefit with with all the people in the High Atlas. Also now it's the seed banks we have like community seed banks and regional seed banks. The objective of seed banks in the High Atlas is to preserve also local seeds, provide a seed for the community as exchange of, and also introducing seeds and varieties. Help on preserving varieties, switch the area with the native varieties and also new varieties from the selection program that we developed. So to have which species that can develop it in the condition and also resilient for the climate. We provide also itself to the training of local communities on different stages of season, conservation, production, collection, and also conservation. For the seed banks also, we have like seed banks in Nait Mohammed, the Migdal, Okemden, Zawt Hansar, and Tilgit also. So we have more than 500 accessions about wild and also cultivated species. And the role of the seed banks is like exchange with the farmers. For example, if they have like varieties that doesn't exist for the other farmers, so they have like an exchange, and also keep like another regional seed bank in the university to keep accessions and also to evaluate the quality of seeds and to conserve it in a good conditions in the regional seed banks in the university. And also the idea is to have to multiplicate the seeds if needed. Well, so we have like a filter for conserving. This one is especially in the regional seed banks. The material that we use, silica gel and freezer for the cold attacks, and also the consumable like cotton seed drying bags until it's material that you use to conserve the area. This photos is from the regional seed banks in the university. We work also with staff that's specified in agrobiology, agroecology, and also seed banking. We have 2 field agronomists, researchers that work especially for agroecology and also seed banks. 7 community researchers for the 5 community seed banks. Because we have now a new one in Tilgit. One is the botanics expert to evaluate also the benefit of seeds, and also a senior botanist for the identifications of varieties and also of species. And then we have like documentation and system and management, data management, like to have like a sections and also to record it to which it allow us to see which seeds are need to distribute and also need to update it in the seed bank. Yeah, it's those like applications, and we did also like qualities analysis, like physical and also testing laboratory to be sure that the seeds are in good qualities, and it will be certain not having like diseases or testing to exchange with other farmers, so to not have like a big problem with the pest after. We also have like a catalog for the local varieties, and the idea for this one is to give for the farmers and also for the other people that need to the information about seeds and the period we're planting, and also which method that you can use for planting, direct seedling or semi-direct, and also fertilizer, biofertilizer that they can use, and also crops rotations. So all this information, it's allowed to the farmers to know exactly, and also for the others that prefer, they don't have like this varieties, like a protocol to multiplicate and to plant the species and the varieties. Yeah, so also we are in like challenges that we have for conservation of for nursery communities and is the sustainability of the seed banks and also of the community nurseries, and it's to find someone who can take in charge like a cooperative to take in consideration all of this work that we did and to take like a role of the developing and continuing work on this. And also climate changes that affected now, especially Morocco, for especially production of seeds, and also even for drought for some of the community nurseries. And also there's some the problem also some challenges is the introduction of hybrid seeds and also some planting monoculture planting that used to have like a good production and very good yield also, but they don't like respect the condition in the high Atlas, and also it caused like a problem after that with this degradation and extinction of the local varieties. So for the lesson learned from this is you have to work in a participatory approach with local communities. Well, the local varieties are very resilient on condition of climate changes, and also seed banks is one of the like local to exchange and help the local communities to exchange the seeds between them. Yeah, so in general, this is what we have, and also what's in the community seed banks, and also nurseries, community nurseries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashid. That was great. That was so fascinating. Now, I have a lot of questions for our three speakers. Rashid, would you mind stopping the share so we can see everyone who's in the group?
Okay, great.
Fantastic. And I have lots of questions, but I'd like to see if anyone else has any questions before I go ahead. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in and hope we start a discussion. So there are so many questions. I'm going to try and make sense of them. Bia, I'll start with you. Actually, I have a few just really very practical questions. So you've got these two sides, you know, the supply and the demand. So on the demand side, are they actually purchasing seeds from the supply side? Are they bought? Are they paying money for the seeds? And who's setting a price for wild seeds? Like what price is given, and how, and if they're purchased, is it because they are these are sort of profit making on that side, or there's funding for that, or how is that? Where's that money coming from that's buying the seeds, the wild seeds from the communities?
Thank you, Emily, for your questions. It's so much to present. Sometimes the details, like this is so important that I need to explain. The price are put by the communities. So we have some methods to support how to reach a price, like how to think about the work they do, how long they take. And so there is a method we support them to think about, because to reach a price is not obvious. So we support them, but they put their price. Each seed networks have a price to the list of seeds they produce and commercialize. So, and who pays? In Brazil, we have laws that oblige people that have properties like big lands and things to restore and conserve part of the properties. So we connect these people that needs to be aligned with the law with the seed networks, and sometimes the selling is direct from the seed networks to the people that will plant and need to be aligned with the law. But also in Brazil, we have the rain begins like in October, November, and many of the people that needs to be aligned with the law only worry about it in the end of the year. But the seed networks must work during the year. So a thing that we do in Redário is to buy part of the seeds and connect and go and look for people that need to restore and connect them like we and
Your
this,
middleman. Yeah.
yes, and this money comes from the projects we roll. So when we submit projects, we put that we will support all this chain, and one of the lines is to anticipate the buying of the seeds and then make this connection with the producers. And there is another thing in Brazil, we also are very used to in general to restore through seed nurseries, so planting. But how I said, there is this method, the Muvuca, that is bringing results, consistent results. But we need to like explain about this method to many of the people that need to restore. So it's this work, and in the projects we explain this. So we when the people accept to let's do the Muvuca experience to restore my area, we give the seeds bought by the projects, and then the people do everything like prepare the soil and monitor and be responsible to other things that they need to pay to restore the area. So this is an intermediation we do.
Thank you. And I see there's a question in the chat, but I'd just quickly like to follow up. Is there anyone beyond these landlords who have this obligation to restore, to do some restoration ecology, that is curious and interested in this approach? Maybe even other communities that are looking to restore some of their land. So do you have other buyers as well?
Yes, in amount, the landowners are those that are more in quantity, but we are worried about talking with the collectors about restoring their own territories. So in many seed networks, this happens. In Rede Sementes do Xingu, Xingu seed network, this happens, for example. In Cerrado, it happens a lot, which is the Brazilian savanna. So many of the communities already do it. And the government also needs to restore like conservation units and other lands. And we are always in this dialogue with the government as well. But in Brazil, the extension of areas that need to be restored are mainly of the landowners.
Yeah. And I guess my question, just very quickly, Arjun, sorry, is presumably the Muvuca is such a wonderful concept of this mix of seeds. And actually, I want to tie it in with something Rashid said, but before I go there, presumably there are different mixes for different bioregions. So every community does a mix that works in that particular bioregion, right? So you're keeping it regional every time, or even very local.
Yeah, we are always worried about thinking about the best species for the situation, the biome, the ecosystem, and also the objective of the restoration, because sometimes we can align with planting the plants from seed nurseries for for selling things like to agriculture with restoration. So it depends a lot. And we, like Redario and Caminhos da Semente, plan Muvuca's list, which are we decide with the academy, with the scientific knowledge, with the communities, but we do it. But some of the seed networks do it as well. But as Redario makes this bridge in terms of the amount of seed selling, sometimes we, in a Muvuca, we connect with a landowner, for example, comes from like 15 different seed networks, not only from one, because one seed networks commercialize a lease and another lease, and we complement the species to a specific objective, to a specific area.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bia. There are questions coming in the chat, so I'm going to go first in an order. So this is a question to all the presenters from Arjun. How do you maintain genetic diversity in your seed bank? And Dunya, I think this was one of your main challenges that you mentioned, that with crossbreeding and hybridization, it's not actually that easy to ensure the genetic diversity. Maybe I got that wrong. Anyway, it would be great to hear from all of you. So let's maybe start with Rashid and go to Rashid, Dunya, Bia, about how you maintain genetic diversity in your projects.
Yeah, so question, thank you for the question, and also asked for who take works in the community seed banks. Especially for this one, we have like a community researcher from the local community that they have like a capacity building, how to manage the seed bank, community seed banks, and how to occupy the seed banks from the local communities. So for the genetics, we try to work as like a locally with the like seeds that existed in the high atlas. So to not like mix the other to come with other seeds from other side to make like a brassage genetic in the seed banks. So what we have, we try to like conserve from the local communities in the top in the terrace what they produce in their terraces, and we try to share it in the same communes. So that we are sure that we have like the same genetic materials. That's not, and also one thing is in the high atlas, we don't have like a very big difference between regions. As what take example from Azilal and the house, there is no a big difference between this. There is some species that cannot find them. Sometimes it's related just for the utilization there and not it is, but in the requirement, ecological requirement, and also it's the same. So we try to have like from the farmers in the high atlas to the farmers in the high atlas. So we are like be sure that we have like the genetics, we diversity of the seed banks. It's of the high atlas.
Thanks, Rashid. Dunya, how do you work on maintaining genetic diversity in your seed bank?
So we have a very simple system. We have the alpha seeds and the beta seeds. So the alpha seeds are the seeds that we or our active members have grown ourselves. So we are sure of the species. And the beta seeds are the ones that we get in the seed exchanges, or some seeds that could be crossbred by us or by our members, or the seeds that are maybe too old. So we have to check them first by ourselves or by our active members, and then we can give them out to our members and at the seed exchanges.
Thank you. Bia.
Thank you for the question, Arjun. I guess what I was explaining, like in a project, we put seed from different seed networks, explain a bit about how we are worried about this aspect of genetics, of genetic diversity, but we also are worried about the limits of it. So we don't, we are doing some researches with partners of universities to understand the limits of where a seed can be planted, so a population of a species don't kill a local population. So at the same time, we are worried about maintaining. We are worried also about the limits of mixing seeds from different regions. So both of the things are in our concerns, and one of the lines of Redário and Caminhos da Semente is the genetic diversity.
Thanks, Bia. Arjun, if you have a follow-up question, just write it in the chat. And I'll move to Samson's question, which is, are there any laws or policies that restrict sharing of seeds or plant variety transactions between farmers where you come from? And a follow-up question to that is, are genetically modified organisms supported, and is there a concern about those? Presumably that's Samson's sub-question there, is the subtle question there, is there concern about those with regards to your operations? But are there, the main question is, are there laws or policies that restrict transactions, exchanges, and that govern seeds, that make it, that limit farmers' capabilities to share with each other? Maybe I'll start with Dunya. You want to go, Bia? You go. Dunya.
Okay, so right now there is no laws that prohibit the seed exchanges, because we are all like small growers. So we are a community seed bank, and our members are gardeners. So we are not selling it. We are exchanging it for seeds or for donations. And since we are an NGO, that is completely allowed. And right now, the European government is working on a new seed law. So we are active in watching out what is happening right now and participating in the petitions and with other seeders from the Balkans and Austria and the European Union, so that everything stays okay for the small businesses and their small farmers. I hope I answered your question, and thank you for your question.
Bia.
Thank you, Samson, for your question. Yes, in Brazil, there are laws and policies that regulate the exchange of seeds and the transaction of plant varieties. I'm trying to remember the name. I guess it's Lei de Proteção de Cultivares, which means Plant Variety Protection Law. I can look for the law and share later if you'd like to, but it sets rules for the protection of new plant varieties and grant rights to plant breeders. While farmers have the right to save and use seeds for their own planting, the commercialization and exchange without proper authorization can be restricted. So, but sometimes in the sense of the commercialization of the native seeds, as we work with, there are many restrictions, and we are trying to understand and make policy incidents with the government also, because sometimes it restricts a lot and makes challengeful to the collectors to sell it in a way that is okay. For example, the Brazilian law obliges all the seeds to be commercialized with samples being understood by universities or other centers of there needs to be aligned with the Ministry of Agriculture, and the time to do it, it's more than a year, but the seeds must be collected and stored and sent to the projects in a less time. So sometimes the law restricts a lot, and we need to understand these two incidents politically to make it more aligned with the situations and support the commercialization of the native seeds. I don't know if I answered it entirely, but I'm available to go deeper if it's needed.
Thank you, Bia. And Rashid, what's the situation in Morocco with regards to laws and policies around seed exchange?
Yeah, of course, there is a policies and the law, especially for the production of the seeds. So you have to have agreement from the agriculture ministry to if you want to produce the seeds and varieties, and you have to be certified, and there is a law to follow to have it. You don't have like a right to do it without permission, without having following the law that manage all these activities. But for if you can just exchanging with within the communities between them, this is so it's no problem about this. You can change it without any permission, without official permission from the government. And also, if you bring some seeds from abroad or something like that, yeah, it's allowed to extend many a procedure to follow if you want to produce like this seeds.
Okay, thanks for that. And then as always, Samson, if you want to follow up with something, let us know. There's an interesting question from TT coming up here, which was actually going to be one of my core questions as well, which I guess is about sustainability for all three of you. So the way TT's phrased it is, what are the exit plans after the project for making these projects sustainable? But even my question is a bit broader as well. What if there are doesn't matter whether there are any exit plans or not, how do you ensure sustainability? I mean, in Bia's case, I was actually even thinking harvesting from the wild, that there's a sustainability question as well there, just in harvesting. Sorry, we've rescued 3 abandoned kittens, so there's just lots of kitten action happening in the back here of my kids. Yeah, there's and then sort of the long-term vision for these projects, right? Dunya, you've expressed issues with sustainability just in saying, how do you actually get farmers to reproduce the seeds, to have enough seeds to be able to exchange? And then there's even a sort of I guess social cultural situation of people not actually even having the mojo and the oomph in them to reproduce the seeds and be part of that. And then with Rashid, my question, to sort of clarify a little bit the sustainability question for me is, I see these beautiful seed banks with little glass boxes. Are you actually reproducing all of them? Are you multiplying them? That is a huge job. How do you ensure that in the long term, especially as you collect more and more varieties? So that sustainability question is a really big one. Maybe we'll start with you this time, Rashid.
For the sustainability is in our plan, of course, because the end of the project, you cannot support all the time the nurseries and also the seed banks. The idea is to have like cooperatives that work in the same aims to plant, and also to take care of the nurseries and to product and to keep it. And when the project and the cooperative will take like in place of the MBLA and JDF to continue the production and also distributing for the local communities, and also have some benefits of cooperative, as they need some benefit, and have also some resource to keep it, to keep the ongoing community nurseries. And it's the same for the seed banks. And now we are trying to have like a cooperative farmer that they can use community seed banks to implement activities, and also to keep it working like a small business in seed banks, and it will be like a low cost to continue the conserving the seed bank. For the one of the university now, the laboratory of the ecology and the environment, it taking charge of all of this, and many studies now starting on the seeds that we have. To evaluate the capacity of germination and also the quality of seeds. I think the laboratory is taken already in consideration this back because the university we don't have like a seed banks already. The first one is university and many studies, and also will be taken charge with laboratory to continue the working on seed, and of course in collaboration with the community seed banks that we have, that will be inshallah managed by cooperatives and in the Higher Atlas.
Thank you, Rashid. Dunya, Bia, sustainability.
Dunya or me?
No, Bia, sorry, I saw you on mute, so go ahead.
Sorry, I was just writing the ideas I want to share. And I opened the micro. Sorry, Dunya. Well, ultimately, the final goal of restoration is for it no longer being necessary. There is something that we always are discussing. But in Brazil, we have millions of hectares that need to be restored. So the demand, it's really huge. And we have the things that the collectors need is the demand, and this is really huge. As I said, there is a challenge of organizing it, but we are not worried about the seeds not being sold, because it's a need, it's an obligation in Brazil to walk through this sense. And in the sense of the initiatives, we are always working through projects, through international financial. So we are always going and submitting other projects, so we can maintain the initiative while we understand this is still important. But as restoration, in the final goal of the restoration is not being needed, our job, while supporting the seed networks as well, of course, in the long sense, but what we need, what we intend is always support. So in the last instance, we don't want them to need support anymore. So those ideas are always in our role, but we are always engaging with projects and in the government, public policies, understanding that now this is important, and we are in the decade of the restoration. So we have many opportunities internationally and nationally to make all these initiatives and all this chain rolling.
Thanks. Yeah, just a quick follow-up question. I am wondering about, and this is maybe a very silly question. Pardon me if it is, you know, especially if the demand is so high, collecting all of those seeds from the wild, is that having any impact on regeneration in the wild? On natural regeneration processes in the locales where you're actually collecting them?
Like collecting more than would be nice.
Yeah. Or is there a system for harvesting, you know, limits?
Yeah, we have principles like not cutting trees, not collecting more than half of the amount of seeds of the tree. So to be articulated in the Redário, we need the collectors and the seed networks as a whole to go in the sense, because in last instance, the objective of the collecting is restore. So it wouldn't make sense if a local impact would be rolling. So these principles, and we have more than that, also related to exploration of people. Like the thing is community based. So the principles are things that we do take for real.
Yeah, thank you. That was my question. So Dunya, what's the long-term vision for the sustainability of your community seed bank? How is it going to grow and
Well, our project, so we started in 2018. So the project officially is over, but we still exist. So our aim is to work with what we have. So regarding our members and regarding the the list of species that we have to offer to the members. So hope it's every year it's getting bigger and bigger, but slowly. So that is our aim. It's just like to keep it as it is and to grow it slowly. And of course, we are not the only seed bank in Croatia, so we have a whole network with other seeders. So that also helps in building the seed variety fund. And yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go to another question in the chat, which is, do some of you work on plant breeding activities such as participatory plant breeding, as the development of new varieties could be very important? I'm assuming the non-said bit of that, especially in climate change, the development of new varieties. Is anyone working on plant breeding for adaptive purposes using local varieties? Nope.
If I can just so we have one of our members, she does that. She's in landrace breeding, so she collects as much as possible different kinds of varieties from one species, and then she plants it together. And she has this process of 3 years. So after 3 years, she gets new varieties that are adapted to her garden, so to her land. That's why it's called landrace. So we are not doing it ourselves, but one of our members is, and then we exchange seeds so everyone can like help her with our own varieties. And in the end, we have something that it's more resilient for the special plots. So
yeah, so there's this one person who's actually actively doing it on her own. That's amazing. Bia, do you have any answers there, or?
We are not directly involved with that, but partners of ours are, like Embrapa, as I said, it's a government institution that is related to researchers and goes in this line. So we are always exchanging knowledge and information, but Redário and Caminhos da Semente is not directly related to that.
No, because they're wild. It's a slightly different scenario, yeah. And then Titi asks a very specific question about
just to add, Emily, just to add, yes, for this. So in Beli now, and we have like a project for selection of the new varieties, especially for the fava bean. The project also is with many institutions in INRA and ICARDA and other from Portugal and Spain. The objective is to select the varieties that can support and also can develop it in the condition of the high atlas house. So we have this project also for the fava bean.
And that's with communities. Are
Yes.
they selecting? So they're doing selection in their fields.
Now with the experiment with now in our community nurseries, that to select the new varieties that can be cultivated in the high atlas.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so just quickly moving on to Titi's question, which is, I think, very specifically for you, Rashid. It was the challenge of having established community nurseries in Bhutan through his organization, and then the communities requesting that the organization purchase the plants. Titi, maybe do you want to come in and explain a bit this question? Because I don't want to say it, I don't want to express myself incorrectly around that question.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Yeah, my question is recently, it's not recent, I think it's last 2 or 3 years. Before we have supported the community people, the farmers, to have a nursery in their communities. So later, like in the beginning, they had a lot of kind of like customers to buy their nurseries. But later, like they had a lot of production, the surplus, And then now they are demanding like my organization to buy, because we have supported them to establish, and like they are all demanding to buy their products, and they also have like the less customers. So my question is, have you also like the met with similar kind of case earlier? So what would be like the solution?
Right. So I think in Rashid's, I'll just answer just to help orient the responses. They're not actually selling seeds, selling plants in the High Atlas yet. The idea is for the cooperatives to take over and begin a process of selling, but that hasn't happened. The plants are actually freely distributed to community members for planting in their terraces and planting in ecological restoration areas. I'm sorry, I'm answering for you, Rashid, just in case the question you didn't quite understand. And Bia, do you have? I mean, I think Bia just mentioned, Titi, that her situation is that there's a much greater demand than there is supply at the moment. They're actually struggling to keep up with the supply. So, here's a thought from me. It sounds like they need support in marketing their plants. But does anyone else want to talk about a situation where a village has a surplus of plants produced and cannot sell them because their customer base has reduced, and so they're trying to get the organization to purchase the plants? Does anyone want to contribute to that, to a reflection around that?
I'll just add about what you were connecting with what I've already said, is that although there is a big demand, there is a big supply as well, and the collectors collect less than they are able to, respecting the nature and respecting processes, because to connect the demand with the supply is still a challenge. So even though the demand it's millions of hectares, sometimes there is a challenge to sell and to scope all the seeds that they collect. But we are always in this role, and we are always in the narrative of the initiatives, sharing about how we won't how can I explain? We won't deal with everything, but we are there to support, to try to help them to find other sellers and things like that. So they don't ask us directly things as Titi shared that happened. So, but I just wanted to clarify about this thing about the supply, because even though the demand is big, sometimes they still struggle selling the seeds, because to connect it's the biggest challenge we have today.
And that's probably what's happening in the situation that Titi expressed, right? Titi, is that it's actually the challenge is that people want plants, but it's a challenge to connect the community plant nurseries to the customers who would really want them. And that, I guess, is a challenge everywhere, and a challenge that probably MBLA will encounter, or the cooperatives will encounter once they start selling their plants. I guess it's universal problem. I would like to ask a question of Rashid, actually. So you said that the nursery in Tilwit, sorry, I probably didn't say that right, but you're doing wild plants and trees for restoration purposes. And I'm wondering what the success rate is for germinating wild trees and wild plants in a nursery setting. I'm inspired by the Muvuka approach, where you throw all the seeds in a bag of sand and you pray. And the fact that they're all mixed up together, all the different succession stages are in there, and there's a lot of thought. Clearly, B has been very clear. There's a lot of thought put into the seed mix, and I'm just wondering what is the the different rate of success from doing it in a nursery setting and growing every little plant, and because we all know that they have such, you know, such niche ecological requirements for growth and germination, especially wild plants and trees. So I'm just wondering what your success rate is, and are you inspired by the Muvuka system?
Yeah, thank you, Emily. But for the turbulent nurseries, we just started, so we just finished the building of the installation of water canals and also parcels, and but the germination that we did actually is not in the ground, but in the laboratory. So we don't did yet in the ground in the nursery. The idea also is to use, because it will be for the restoration of the forest in Tilquit and the Wadahansal Valley, is to choose the plants from this region, so it's in the same climate and the requirement climate, and also ecological requirement that they have in the same region. This is the idea, but for this moment we don't yet did the experimental in the growth, but it's the same in Mohammed. We have also the trees, wild trees, as ash tree, as also Quercus ilex. So it's grown, especially for the ilex. It's no problem. It can germination. It's good. But due to the type of the seeds of the ash tree, you need like a pre-treatment before sowing, and they take a lot of time to germination. We try to do this to develop even protocol for germination, and we have to use the pre-treatment of the seeds to have germination. But we developed other strategies. Is in the forest of the ash trees, they have like a small seedling that's growing up, but the problem there is grazing. It's not continuing. Even when it's up, success is 1% of the plant that will be successful. The idea is we take these small seedlings, and put it in the nurseries to growing them in the nurseries, and like that it is it for the restoration forest, like a assisted germination or assisted growing of these plants. And also that give us a lot of seedling. Instead, if we're using like a seedling, now we have more than 2,000 plants of ash tree. And one thing that Agence Nationale des Eaux Forêts didn't have for this moment, especially for this region, they asked for to have like this in the restoration of the forest, especially this one in Ait Mohammed. Yeah, this is in general what we have, especially for trees.
Yeah, so you've gone around the problem of germination with the ash by recruiting little seedlings in locations that are grazed to bring them into the nursery.
Yes.
Thank you. Does anyone have any more questions? We've just gone over the time. If there aren't any more questions, I have one little. This has just made me wonder something, Bia, what Rashid just said about pre-treatments, and I'm wondering if some of the seeds need special. Seeds sometimes need to be sandpapered or soaked, or are you just selecting seeds that can just go and do that on their own, or systems of actually planting that offer the seeds what they need? Because there's such a mixture of seeds in the Muvuka context.
In the Muvuka context, we plant seeds that we can store. Actually, the thing is because the collectors need to collect, clean, and keep it until we connect to the project to be planted. So most of the seeds are of course thought about the ecological succession, as I said, and things related to that. But we have the challenge of planting seeds that struggle with the storaging step. But of course, we know that many of the species would germinate and grow with support, like I don't know how to say it in English, but to break the sleepily of the seeds. It happens in the land. Dormancy, thank you. But we don't do it in the Muvuka. We just put the seeds in the soil. We cover it like 2-3 centimeters, and we monitor and understand how the seeds are going in the soil, and then we, in the next project, we aligned a bit about the quantity, about the species we can put. But in general, we don't break the dormancy or do other things, because we are worried about the scale of the plantings as well. So doing it in scale is challenging.
100%. Yeah. No, I completely agree. Well, it's been really, really fascinating. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your great questions. Yeah, thank you. If there's any final words, otherwise, I'm going to say thank you so much to our 3 speakers. That was fascinating. And thank you to our participants. They've dropped off a bit. We started off with a few more, but we will be putting this up online for everyone to be able to watch the recording and enjoy it at their own time. So please share the recording widely with your networks. I'm sure they'll find it very, very interesting. Thank you so much, everyone.